Good, good morning, collectors, flippers, hobby enthusiasts, whatever you want to title yourself. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic day. Hopefully, you have some card shows coming up, or you made some big pickups, whether it was through purchasing or trading. Hopefully, your hobby endeavors are going fantastic. I know mine are. But before we get into any of our topics today or talk more about me, Ricky, good morning. How are you? How are your hobby endeavors going?
Good morning. I'm good. My hobby endeavors are they're pretty good right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Hell yeah.
Been picking some stuff slow and steadily into my collection for the next boom, but we'll talk about that later. But um, yeah, we got the Patriots on Sunday. That's gonna be insane. I can't believe we made it back so quickly. Um, Yeah, going actually Celtics Bulls are coming out Saturday. My girlfriend and I are going to that. So that'll be fun.
Seems
Yeah.
like things are well.
How about you?
It's funny you mentioned how it feels good to be back, for the Patriots. Last year, there was a kid in the shop, no older than high school age. And he was like, uh, yeah, it was after like the Patriots signed Vrabel, and he was like, "Man, I hope they do good next year. I can't go through another losing season." I'm like, "Buddy, buddy, we've had a rough for 5 years. I'll give you that, but like, it is
Yeah.
not that bad. It's really
Murph,
not
they're
bad."
they're preschoolers who've never seen the
I
Patriots win the Super
know,
Bowl.
I know, it's
We're in a
nuts.
drought. We're deprived.
Oh my gosh, it was just, and I had someone else in the shop, and we were just like, "Huh, huh." Thank goodness you're not
Yeah,
a Jets fan, but
as a as Patriots slash New England fans, we are spoiled for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think the longest drought in the 21st century has to be a few years just for any of the championships. And you mix in the Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics, and of course the Patriots.
It was just now between
It
the
was, oh,
Patriots
that's
and the
right.
Celtics.
Yes.
Patriots and the Celtics.
What was that, like 5, 6 years from,
Four
because
and
the
a
Red,
half, something like
see, because that was in Super Bowl was 2018, technically 2019, and then they won in 24. So yeah, look at that. Well, anyways, enough about local brags. We do have a guest in the background. That's Bogey. He'll be giving his in-depth analysis throughout the course of this episode today as we discuss a bunch of different things. But with all the pleasantries out of the way, I want to dive into probably the biggest thing that's on the minds of collectors, hype beast, flippers, scalpers, whoever it may be, and that's One Piece. Now, caveat disclaimer, Ricky and I both don't know a damn thing about it, so don't expect advice or insights, tips, tricks, or whatever it may be. We're just here to give our thoughts and opinions about the current landscape of the hobby that was dominated by Pokemon for such a long period of time, and it still relatively is, as it kind of transitions to One Piece. And I kind of want to get your thoughts, Ricky, because, like you said, before we start recording, like, you don't know anything about it, me neither. So I'm kind of curious to get your insights on what the hell is going on, because you're a sports guy, you're a Pokemon guy, and now this One Piece thing is kind of taken over. So what are you seeing? What are you feeling? And how do you kind of react to One Piece over the last couple months being just the thing?
I mean, first and foremost, it's nice to see some attention off of Pokemon so that the prices could cool down a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, I want to think this is another, hype beast situation, another, pump and dump, another thing where people are just trying to make a quick buck by inflating all the prices. But this has lasted longer than the little SpongeBob craze everyone had. This has lasted a little longer than other things that have come out recently. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is just another pump and dump that might have some momentum still going into the summer. I don't think it'll still be anywhere near as big as Pokemon will be. It's hard to know who's actually into it and who's into it just for the money. It is funny seeing a bunch of different influencers and stuff start posting it, and uh, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I mean, we could say the same thing that's happening with One Piece right now that happened with Pokemon, yeah, a year and a half ago, a year and a handful of months ago. I mean, Pokemon's obviously been around for significantly a long period of time. Or, yeah, Pokemon with the cards, the animes, the movies, the toys, and all that jazz. And One Piece, their anime TV show has been around for a very, very long time. So, I mean, we got to give credit where credit's due. However, the natural hype that One Piece cards are currently getting, I don't think directly correlate to the anime show itself. Now, I would like to kind of compare it a little bit to Lorcana when that first came out, and a
That's what
very,
I'm about to
very well known hobby influencer who's always 100% right once said that because of Disney's backing and their strong fanhood, that it would overcome Pokemon. And I'm sarcastically speaking about Jeff Wilson, who said that Pokemon is a beta compared to Lorcana being alpha. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And Lorcana's been out for 4-ish years, maybe 3. And Lorcana is just not in the same stratosphere as Pokemon is. Now, has it had its moments of hype? Sure, when it first came out. But right now, no one gives a rat's about Pokemon. I'm sorry, no one gives a rat's about Lorcana compared to Pokemon. Now, I do think that Lorcana is, like you said, another pump and dump kind of a thing. Can you make some quick money? Sure. Are there true hardcore collectors? Of course. However, it's hard for those collectors to buy the cards that they want because the market of these cards, if I can just pull up my screen that I have so graciously prepared for us. Okay, yeah, that's the right one. And if we just take a look at Card Ladder, just looking at the percentages of the 1 month changes, 77%, 55%, damn near 100% month change. I mean, all these prices are just going up 4.69%. That's the lowest one out of the bunch. Everything is over 50 plus percent. Here's one of the negatives. Here's one at 0. It's just
crashing.
absolutely, yeah, it's crashing, right? But it's just like 19.8 thousand was the last sold, 6,900 last sold, 45, 52, 13,000, 2,000. I mean, the market for this card game right now, which it is a very competitively playable, likable card game. Let's make sure we recognize that element too. Like this, it hasn't come out of nowhere. Like this is actually a popular trading card game that players play at tournaments and at gaming shops and build decks around and such like that. Like you see with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, Celestials, Riftbound, whatever TCG we want to talk about. But we do not see 19,000, 6,900, 4,500, 5,200 dollar sales. Now, granted, these are all graded cards, but the point stays the same. Is there is so much hype, so much attention on this trading card game right now that it's really putting a lot of eyes on it and taking a lot of eyes away from whether it's Pokemon or sports. Bless you. So it's just a matter of how long does this last for? I don't think people expected the whole hype and wave and popularity of Pokemon to last as long as it did, and it's now cooling off. But like this could be around for a while. This could be around for just a handful of months. I mean, I just don't think I kind of agree with you. Come the summertime, when those big shows come around in the summer, whether it's Fanatics Fest, whether it's the National, Dallas, the West Coast show, I just don't think these are going to be able to survive with those sports card heavy shows. Now, I think maybe survives maybe a little strong term. I don't think it's going to be able to contend, I think is a better way to put
Yeah.
it. Because Pokemon's still
Um,
going to be Pokemon. One Piece, I just don't think these sales are going to last.
right. Like there are shows like centered a whole basically run around Pokemon, and I just don't see this being something where you could throw a 100 table show together and only or mainly have one piece. But I mean, did you see who's doing the big box break on this now?
I mean, I saw Logan Paul bought a few cases. Is he breaking
Yeah,
them? He is breaking
yeah,
them.
yep. So
You know,
that
it's
that might brew up the same Pokemon hype and market pump, whatever that happened when he opened a bunch of fake boxes.
yes. Maybe his cases are fake of One Piece.
That
So
would be
like
pretty funny.
I'm seeing at shows, and we'll dive into card shows more specifically in a little bit. You know, I want to stay on this topic for a bit because the shows that I've been attending and vending, you know, these vendors are sprinkling in One Piece. Now, what were they selling the show before or 6 months before? I have no idea, nor do I really care. But we are seeing the transition from whether it's sports or Pokemon or whatever into One Piece. And I agree with you. I don't think we can, you know, pull 100 table One Piece show together, but you can with Pokemon. Now, of course, you know, if you do a 100 table Pokemon slash TCG show, you're gonna have your One Piece mixed in. You're gonna have a bunch of other TCGs mixed in and collectibles, whether it's plushies or crafts or whatever it is, because you know that's just kind of that audience for vendors. You know, when you have a sports card show, you don't see a lot of memorabilia, you don't see a lot of TCG. It's traditionally just sports cards. So we are seeing a trend of vendors switching over to One Piece, and it's not like it's half and half. Some are, but it's not like it's half and half. A lot of these vendors, again, I don't know what they were selling previously, their whole table is just One Piece now, the whole table. And if that doesn't tell you, outside of these prices that I kind of just alluded to here, or at least just showcased to you, if that doesn't tell you that the market is changing and the hype is drastically going, look at that, the crash, minus 17%, the crash, then I don't know what is, because us as consumers, we dictate the market. And right now, the market is One Piece, not for all, but for some. And I don't think it's scary. It's nothing to be nervous about. I think our collections will be fine. If anything, I think it helps the value of our collections. But it is something to keep track of, because I do think as quick as it's kind of come, you know, to fame, to popularity, I also think it could be an immediate dump for people. But the whole Logan Paul thing could could throw a wrench into that, because what did he do with Pokemon? He kind of pumped it up. Yeah, he had he had that Illustrator Pikachu that I think he just recently sold. He had that for a while.
Yeah,
Charizard's obviously.
it's on auction now, and it's not even a 10. He was given that 10. There's the
So
lightning on the back, but we'll talk about that another time.
like I don't really think, whether we're Pokemon or sports collectors, we need to panic. I don't think we need to hit the sell button on our collection.
No, listen, I'm not panicking either way. If it crashes, I'm picking up more.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Uh, for sure.
And
Like I've been, what's
go
up?
ahead. Oh no, go ahead.
No, I've been slowly building a collection these past couple months. So if it crashes, I'm just going to end up buying more. There are cards that I want right now that I don't necessarily want to pay for, but if they go a little lower, I will be dishing out some cash to get some to stock up for the
Like
next.
you mentioned, and I wish I picked on it before, but I just kind of thought about it. Is you mentioned the whole Disney Topps Chrome thing? You know, that lasted for what, a week or two. SpongeBob, that lasted for a week or two. I know Labubus are supposed to have trading cards, but remember the physical plushie Labubus? Like that was like a big thing for like a small window. And now, like, of course, they're like still kind of prevalent, but like no one's really like focused on them, or you don't really hear about them all too much. So like these markets, they come and they go. And I'm not going to sit here and say One Piece will kind of come and go that quickly because we're still seeing a massive rise in the market for One Piece and the demand for One Piece and then the popularity of it. But I definitely don't think it's going to sit and stay a while like Pokemon, obviously like sports cards. It's just not that. If Lorcana with Disney cards can't do that in terms of have a mainstay popular trading card game, because Disney has impacted the lives of multiple generations over 100 years. And I'm not going to say their trading card game is flopped because it didn't. It's still extremely playable and it's very competitive, and the cards are pretty cool. But nobody's talking about it, whether it's princess cards or villain cards or supporting character cards. Just nobody's talking about it. And I think we can both agree, and probably anybody listening and watching could probably agree, that what's more popular in the grand scheme of things, One Piece or Lorcana, or Disney, I should say. Disney. So this may stay a while. It's going to have its ebbs and flows, and it may stay at a higher level than what it was a year ago in terms of its new norm. I won't discount that, but it's not going to pass sports cards. It's not going to pass Pokemon cards. Some cards will be more expensive, sure, but just in the grand scheme of things, Pokemon sports cards, they are the foundation. They are the pillars of this hobby. Everything else is being held up by those.
Couldn't agree more. That was a good speech.
Thank you. Thank you for my TED Talk, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one. Just kidding, though. But, I mean, how many times have we seen things kind of come and go with hype? Again, I mean, we kind of already mentioned a few of it, whether it was with Lorcana or with the Topps Chrome Disney, SpongeBob, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it's what's new, what's fancy, what's flashy. Not that this is new, but, because it's been around for a while. Did you hear about the news? Maybe some people listening may not have, but what Bandai is doing, the Panini, the Upper Deck that makes One Piece cards, Bandai is going to be releasing booster boxes moving forward without the factory seal wrapping around it.
Oh, wow.
So when you get a new box, you know how when you got to rip the plastic off to get into the packs, their booster boxes are going to come wrapless, I guess, plasticless. I don't think it's a notion to save trees or the planet or anything like that, but it's more of a countermeasure for scalpers and resellers and such like that. And when I hear that, I just think to myself, well, regardless if there's wrapping on it or not, people are still going to buy it to resell it. It just makes it a little bit more suspicious because you may think that those packs are all weighed at that point, which may cause a little bit of concern for people looking to spend 2x, 3x the price of a booster box on the aftermarket. I just don't think it's ultimately going to accomplish what they want, the products to come without the wrapping to accomplish, if that makes sense.
That's kind of, wow. Surprised they're going at the scalpers and the flippers and all that already.
I mean, and I guess, and I don't know how true this is, but I heard that One Piece, once they release it, like there's no reprints a year later. Like they may do like a soft one soon after the initial release date. But like, how like 151 came out in September of 23 and we just got Blooming Waters about a year ago, maybe 10, 11 months ago. So like that was a reprint of 151. Like they don't do that. Once it's out, again, maybe a soft reprint a month or two later, that's it, done.
Oh, wow.
So the scarcity and the demand of these products definitely, hold value. And I think that's very appealing in terms of the sealed market. Well, I guess it's not going to be sealed much longer, but the point stays the same. So it'll be very interesting to track this new market that One Piece has found itself in with the newer products moving forward.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so
both reprint stuff that they don't reprint.
Do you think Pokemon should do something like this? Very, very. It can go both ways. Why is that?
Only reason I'd say no is, again, to combat the scalpers, because that would not go over well.
I agree. I think
if they did a limited release, that's not going to go over well.
I think I think Pokemon's reprint policy needs to be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, I've been in the camp, print this thing to the moon, print to the oblivion, print it till you blue in the face. And for the most part, they do a pretty good job at printing, but the product's always still so scarce because, you have all these scalpers just buying it all out. But again, if you print it to the end of the earth, then shops and stores and wherever are always having product. And sure, it may sit when you have that much product, but it will eventually sell. At least it looks good on the shelf, and you won't have to worry about, having to reprint. But I do believe if they have an aggressive reprint policy, not only are you going to kill the resale aftermarket, but you're also going to kind of put that product back into collectors' hands, because maybe they open it a few months later, go by, a set or two has come out. It's like, oh, here's that set again because they reprinted it. Now, I'm not counting reprints as like the premium collection boxes where they'll put like 1 or 2 packs in that product. Like I'm talking about like a full blown hit the reset, reprint the product kind of a run. And of course, you don't want to skew with your print, not your print, your release dates, because obviously you got to be conscious of people's wallets at the same time if you're the Pokemon company. But I do believe aggressive reprint policies are the way to go. You see it a lot with Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why a lot of their card prices are very cheap. Magic, the same thing. So, hey, we don't make the rules. We just play by them. We don't make, the legislation for the Pokemon company. We just, buy them, talk about them, sell them, trade them, whatever it may be. That's what we do.
I forgot about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic.
Yeah, they're completely different animals. I mean, not in a good way either. Pokemon is just, again, Magic the Gathering's been around for 30 plus years. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just celebrated 25. I think they're approaching 30. And those card games can't even sit at the same table as Pokemon. What makes us think that One Punch, as a customer once called it, or again, Lorcana for that matter, what makes us think that those new trading card games can sit at that table with Pokemon? Again, maybe hype, in the moment kind of stuff, sure, but long-term stability, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this just feels like another, let's milk this for what it is, and then it'll be abandoned in like 6 months. Like I don't think we're gonna see too much One Piece at like the National or Fanatics Fest or anything like that.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, last year, I know Pokemon wasn't on the level that it was last year, and this is a great segue into our card show conversation that I'd like to get into, is at Fanatics Fest, like, I had a case full of Pokemon cards, and I didn't really sell any, to be honest. Now, I don't know how about other vendors did, but at least I maybe counted a dozen or so Pokemon vendors at Fanatics Fest last year. I expect that number to go up. One Piece, I'm sure, will kind of take an impact to either the Pokemon vendor space or the sports card vending space, for that matter. So it'll be very interesting to see the percentage pie from these big shows with sports cards, obviously, Pokemon, obviously, but also you mix in One Piece, because I'm sure it's still going to be relevant, or people hanging on by a thread or trying to fire sale it to get into the next big thing at those big shows. Maybe it is still a monster come then. Maybe it's even bigger. Who knows? But both you and I are definitely not high on One Piece long term. Maybe something like the early sealed products, OP1, OP2, maybe something like that. Might, because soon that'll be considered vintage. But the newer stuff, especially the unwrapped boxes, I just don't think will be able to contend long term. Speaking of card shows, I have 2 topics I want to dive into with card shows. The first one is the amount of card shows. Now, we've talked about this before. I've talked about it myself. I've talked about it here at the shop. You look up any weekend in your area, and I just looked up my area, so Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and I'll show you all 3 states. But if you check your area, not you, Ricky, but just, whoever may be listening, you'll find that there's probably at least 1, 2, or more shows happening any given weekend. We have a show on Thursday, actually tonight, when we're recording in Waltham, Mass, excuse me. Saturday, Sunday, you got 2 on each of those days, and you got the Thursday show again. You have 3 on February 1st. Then you have, I guess that Thursday show is a weekly show. You have 3 the day before actually, no, that's not the Super Bowl. Where is that? No, is the Super Bowl? Super Bowl's the 8th. So you have 3 before the Super Bowl. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows on Super Bowl Sunday morning. 5 shows. That was Massachusetts. Let's look at Connecticut. Sunday the 25th. So just in a couple days, you have 5 shows. And then the day of the Super Bowl, you have 3 more shows. Rhode Island, I don't think is as many. You have no shows on Super Bowl Sunday in the state of Rhode Island. So, I mean, small state, pretty much a show every other day, just about, with Sunday, Saturday, Wednesdays, Thursday shows. The point of why I bring this up, Ricky, is there is so many damn shows. Now, I am pro show. I am a proponent of card shows. But my God, have we hit a breaking point where too much is just too much? Oh my God, I wasn't even rifling over I thought I was switching the pages. I'm sorry. Let me go back to Connecticut. We have 5 shows on Sunday, the 25th. Bing, bang, bang, bong. I don't know how far or close they are to each other. I guess it doesn't really matter. There's 2 in New Britain, actually. Look at this. Hard-hitting show in New Britain, Connecticut. And then the 151 card show also in New Britain, Connecticut.
That's crazy.
And then, again, you got 2 on Super Bowl Eve. And then you got 3 on Super Bowl Day. And then let's just switch to Rhode Island, which isn't as busy, but it seems like there's shows every other day. You go Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. It's just unbelievable. And I think, again, card shows are good for the hobby, but is too much? Have we hit a breaking point where there's just way too many shows? I mean, this is just, I think it's getting ridiculous.
So my first question is, what is this website?
It is called Trading Card Database. I'll show you exactly what I Googled. Let me share the screen instead. Let me bring my search bar. What did I type in? I typed in card shows near me. Ta-da. I love how Murph's Card Town pops up. And then it just kind of defaulted to card shows in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Obviously, you can filter by your own state. And then bang. And as long as the show promoter advertises it on this website, it will show up. So let's just assume, because I'm sure this is true, that there's probably shows happening that aren't advertised on this website. So you could probably just sprinkle in a couple of more shows over the next couple weekends that aren't advertised.
Fair.
Absolutely absurd. But enough of me bitching and complaining. Ricky, please go ahead.
So I mean, like you said, pro show. I have missed going to shows. I haven't been able to go to one in a while, but I think the amount of shows is good for the people going to the shows, but not as good for the vendors. Because it gives the attendees more options. But for the vendors, it takes customers away. If there's another local show not too far, that they'll end up going to a different show instead of yours. So you have less people to work with. But as a consumer, if you have more options, you'll see different things. Like when I was back in Mass, going to the same show every other week or every month or whatever, I remember seeing the same people with the same cards, really. So if you have that many different shows to go to, you'll see different people, different cards, whatever. Like, you have different options.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't even think about that, and that's such a great line of thinking is, hey, for people looking to attend these shows, maybe sell cards or trade cards, this is great. I mean, you don't have to settle for a certain percentage or settle on a certain deal. because you can just walk away and go to 4 more shows that same day if you really want to, and you probably find at the very least the same kind of deal at the same kind of value, or chances are you'll probably find something better, because everybody nowadays, every vendor seems like they're buying it 90 to 100%, and we've beaten that horse to death 1,000 times. At least I have. So, I mean, I didn't even think about that. And then you even kind of spun it the other direction about the vendors, how, it's less customers for the vendors, less attendees for the showrunners. And those are all great points of emphasis, because shows are not only as good as the vendors, shows are not only as good as the attendees. It is an absolute combination of both. And both need to coexist in order for it to be a really good show. And without both, it's just not going to happen. Ricky, I decided to pull up Illinois because I'm such a great guy. And you have a show tomorrow to go to between 4 and 9 in Killdeer, Illinois. I don't know how far that is. And then you also have 4 on Saturday. Again, this is the whole state of Illinois, which is obviously a lot bigger than in Rhode Island. You have 3 on Sunday. You have 2 on Friday. You have a 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. show on Friday. A 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. I think that's a typo. I'm sure that's supposed to be 5 p.m.
She wants to say hi.
Ooh, hello, kitty. Meow. Second straight appearance for the kitty. I love it. So, I mean, we could play this game with any state. Any state we could play this game. We're going to find at least 2 to 3 shows on a given weekend. And it's just baffling to me. It stretches vendors thin. It puts more pressure on these vendors to be able to acquire inventory, to be able to move inventory. The traveling can be exhausting. Take it firsthand experience. The traveling is a pain. It's exhausting. It's tiring. And as much as I want to be, all these shows are great, nothing could go wrong, blah, 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 blah. It's both good and bad. There's pros and there's cons. And I'm glad, Ricky, you brought up 2 great points I didn't even think about. But yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. I mean, again, I just want to look at Rhode Island really quickly, being the smallest state in the country. And again, every other day there's a show. Like, vendors just can't keep up with that. A lot of vendors have full-time jobs. Some vendors don't. People have full-time jobs. They can't attend the show on Wednesday night from 5 to 9 because they have to pick up the kids from daycare. They got to cook dinner. Maybe they have to go to the grocery store. They got to put the kids in bed. Obviously, they got to spend time with their family, yada, yada, yada. So there's pros and cons, but this is just a topic I wanted to touch on to kind of highlight.
On a bigger scale, it's like this weekend, that weekend in the summer coming up where it's Fanatics Fest, Dallas, and West Coast.
I don't even know. I was going to try to look it up.
Even having 3 large shows in the country at the same time is going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I know we kind of talked about that before a little bit. How can vendors who set up at probably all 3 shows, how can they make that work? The answer is they can.
People who attend all the big shows, that's going to hurt them too.
Yep, I could not agree more with you.
I'm sure there'll be crazy people who do one each day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that's going to be tough for everyone.
I'm trying to find if I can find like a little post or something about card shows in July. The like big card shows, but I don't think I can because Rhode Island's coming up. Rhode Island doesn't have no big card shows. So that's my kind of take about the whole card show scene. Definitely curious what other people may have to say about card shows. I mean, card shows are very fun. They're very exciting. Walking around, looking at cool cards, making deals. I mean, there's so much pros from both sides of the table. But you're right. I mean, for the vendors that may set up at all 3, you can't slice and dice that. Like, I was definitely intrigued about possibly before the West Coast show setting up at the one in July. Like, oh, this will be fun to come back out to. And I decided ultimately no, but let's just say I wanted to. Well, now I can't because of Fanatics Fest. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to choose Fanatics Fest over the West Coast show, maybe even the Dallas show for that matter. What about attendees or people's favorite influencers. I mean, it might be a little easier for them to kind of hit at least two of them than it is for vendors, but there's going to be some traveling conflictions, vending problems, and attendee issues. I guarantee it. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, but I definitely think so.
No, there will be, and I just don't understand the logic of all. Like, I understand Fnatic Fest's wanting to do it when they do it because it's the FIFA World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand they're kind of not forced, but it would be better for them to do it that weekend. But the other two, I just like, you got to plan that better.
I'm trying to look up to see how far each show is from each other for these 5 Connecticut shows. Can you make me a list of how far each show is from each other with miles and time? All right, let's see if Gemini does that. All right, so let's move along to our next topic. I love what in our chat here on the side you put buying Drake May, because everybody under the sun is buying Drake May. But players in the playoffs, this is something that I just want to kind of just throw a dart and just kind of let you pick it apart. I saw a post of a Jarrett Stidham card. I'm going to try to find it. That sold for $13.
Oh.
Now it's selling for $300. I'll double check my numbers here on that, but I can't wrap my head around it. I can't. We see this year after year after year after year with these players. I can't spell. Here we go. Here it is. Oh, you're gonna love this. Bang. Same exact card. I mean, I don't know if it's like specifically the same numbering and all that. Like 14 out of 50. I don't know. On May 17th, 2025, what was that? 8 months ago? 9 months ago? Whatever. $13 for PSA 10, guys. PSA has the most resale value. Keep in mind, PSA 10s have the most resale value, and you're selling it for $13. Fast forward.
Less than the cost of grading.
Exactly. But, Ricky, it has the most resale value. Keep that in mind. That's what everyone tells you. Less than 3 days ago, 3 days ago, probably hours after Bo Nix broke his ankle, the same exact card, $300. Talk about a pump and dump. Talk about hype. Talk about idiocy. What are we doing? Ricky, please. I can't. I need to go find this stupid directions.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we see this every year.
Oh.
We saw the same thing with Malik Willis a few weeks ago when he took over for Jordan Love. People were going crazy for his cards. It's just like people don't learn. You know what? I'm all for the selling. If I could sell that $13 card for $300, I'm going to do it. But we're just buying this stuff, just like it's going to get burned again. They just don't learn.
Like, I mean, this isn't a Jarrett Stidham super fan buying this card, because they already have all the autos and patches and number stuff on God's green earth. Probably already have him. This is, of course, a buy for whoever it's a buy for, in hopes that they beat the Patriots. Now, listen, Ricky, we're both Pats fans. We're hoping that doesn't happen. The Patriots should win. But just imagine 90 seconds left, no timeouts. Stidham marches the Broncos down the field. You know the same card's going to be listed for $1,500. It's just, I don't get it. I really don't. We've seen this time and time again, whether it's Malik Willis, whether it's whoever, these scrub backup quarterbacks. We've seen it over and over again. What is... I mean, do we really think that Jarrett Stidham's going to lead the Broncos to the Super Bowl? Is that what we're really banking $300 on? Is that like our goal? I'm going to buy this card because I know Stidham's going to win the Super Bowl this year. For $300, I'm easily going to turn that into a $2,000 card. Easily, Ricky. Like, is that really what we're expecting to do? Now, maybe $300 is nothing to nobody, but still.
At that point, just throw $300 on the Broncos winning.
Might as well.
You'd make more.
Yeah, you can make more. At least you can root for the whole team because, maybe the Broncos just defensively step up and Stidham's, just a walking wet towel. Maybe he pees down his leg and we have to throw in Sam Ellinger in there or Ellinger or whatever. Maybe Stidham gets injured. Who knows? I could find a million things to spend $300 on, and it's not a Jarrett Stidham PSA 10 card. I could find a million things to spend $13 on better than a Jarrett Stidham card.
Like a Chipotle burrito with guac.
Exactly. I'm more a peso guy, but the point stays the same. I'd rather get, I don't know, 5 cases of water or 4 cases of water than this Jarrett Stidham card. So let's talk about a more realistic scenario here, and that is Drake Maye. Of course, there's a couple other quarterbacks still alive here in the NFL playoffs, but the hype is about Drake Maye right now. And not because he's the local quarterback, that obviously has a factor to do with it here, at least in New England, and for one lucky soul in Chicago. But is Drake Maye, now we saw what Daniels did last year. We saw what Caleb Williams did this year. Is Drake Maye the best quarterback out of the bunch? Now, of course, that's kind of a sucker's question because he's either going to win MVP or he's going to be runner-up. Of course, he was second in AP quarterback. So it's kind of a loaded question. But is he definitively the best quarterback? 5 years from now, will he still be the best quarterback? Obviously, the nature of this playoff run will kind of determine that. And how do we go about buying these young quarterbacks so we don't fall for the CJ Stroud fool's gold or even the Jaden Daniels fool's gold from last year, the Mac Jones fool's gold from a couple years ago? How can we avoid fool's gold? Not saying that Drake Maye is, but how can we kind of hit it from both sides?
Well, just to bring up Jaden Daniels real quick, I did pick up this car.
The Glares Brute. Was that a 9 or a 10? I can't tell.
10.
Okay. Like that.
So the reason, just real quick, the only reason I picked it up is because it's disgustingly cheap to what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I think it's 25% of its high is what I got it for, at least. So I'm not expecting it to go up back to what it was. But even if it goes up 50% to what it was, then I think that's a good buy. But anyways, yeah, I guess you just gotta buy quarterbacks you absolutely believe in and not the quarterbacks that the market tells you to buy.
Like Jarrett Stidham.
Right. And, I do believe in Jaden Daniels. He looked good. He had a freak accident. Well, not accident, but injury. And this whole team was injured this season, so I do expect to bounce back. Is Drake Maye the best quarterback of the three? It's really only Caleb, Jaden, and him, right? Who else is there?
Bo, Penix, and McCarthy.
Yeah, so definitely not McCarthy and Penix. I forgot about Penix. Wow, are they moved on from him already?
He had an injury, so Kirk Cousins stepped up, and they didn't look terrible with Kirk Cousins as the starter for, I don't know, however many games he played, now 3 or 4 maybe. I don't think that they're done with him, but, that just kind of shows you. I'm not going to say that he was underprepared, but, this dude was probably the most NFL-ready quarterback out of that group just based on the experience and age and maturity, and even he has struggled to find his footing in the NFL. Now, of course, his team is not that good, but he does have good players around him. So there's so many factors that goes into making a quarterback great and making a quarterback look like crap. I could sit here and say, I think all of those quarterbacks have the potential to be good, but they all need to be in the right system. We saw Jaden Daniels in a good system last year. We saw Caleb Williams in a bad system last year. Now you put Caleb Williams in a good system, and he looks significantly better. Drake Maye, same exact thing. Bad system last year, good system this year. So I've beaten this horse to death with, quarterbacks. It depends on who is around you and what your system is, what your culture is, your supporting cast, because no quarterback can do it by themselves unless your name is Tom Brady. So my thing with Drake Maye is it's proven me wrong. I'll admit it. He has proven me wrong, and I've been extremely impressed. I do want to see what he looks like on the road. Not before I make my final judgment or anything like that. The season is a success. He is the head of the horse for that success. Obviously, with Mike Vrabel, Diggs, and the whole defense and everybody involved. But I really do want to see what he looks like on the road. Can he do something that Tom Brady never did when that was going to Denver in the playoffs and win? At this point, whether it was Bo Nix or Jarrett Stidham, he absolutely should be able to. But, I guess only time will tell, and we'll figure that out Sunday around 6 o'clock Eastern time. But I think Drake Maye is the poster child for you draft somebody you believe in who may be raw, but shows you he has talent. You put him in a system, and I think last year was really a waste of time for him because he really got no benefit from last year, with the exception of playing time, which he needed because he was only a junior. I think he sat his first year behind Sam Howell, actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, at UNC. But you were able to see the development of Drake Maye from looking like a raw rookie with no experience to somebody who looks like he's a 5-year vet who's making plays that you never thought a player like him could make. And that just shows you how important the development of these quarterbacks are. You could say the same thing about Caleb Williams. He has developed extremely nicely over these, 2 years that he's been in the league, making crazy throws, being able to read defenses and such. And that is something that these collectors, these flippers, these resellers don't have time for. Like Shedeur Sanders. Should he have been a top 5 pick? Should he have been a 5th round pick? Nobody knows. But we were able to see glimpses and highlights of what Shedeur can do, kind of like what we saw with Drake Maye last year. But we also saw the fact that he's a rookie and that he needs to develop and he needs time. And he's also on a bad team. Again, similar to what we saw with Drake Maye last year. Now, if you put the right pieces around Shedeur, could he be the next guy? If you put the right pieces around Cam Ward, could he be the next guy? Similar to how Drake Maye has taken the mantle of being the next guy right now. But people don't have time for that. People don't have the patience for that. They just want to hop onto Pokemon or One Piece and then buy when it's too late to buy these quarterbacks. So I think it's a really interesting time right now for sports. Obviously, the quarterbacks that are in the mix, was it Stafford? Who's the other quarterback?
Sam Darnold.
Thank you. Sam Darnold. He was on the Jets. He sucked. He was seeing ghosts when he was playing against the Patriots. Goes to Minnesota. He looks good. Seattle. He looks great. He's, look how long it took him to kind of become relevant. So it takes time, and people need that patience, which unfortunately a lot of people do not have in this hobby. But Drake Maye, I'll admit, proven me wrong, and I said I would accept it if he ever did, and he has. And I will take that admission with pride because I wanted him to prove me wrong this whole time. But I had to sit here and be realistic. I couldn't buy fool's gold. How many people bought fool's gold with Mac Jones? How many people bought it with Zach Wilson and Trey Lance? Listen, roll tide. Mac Jones was failed by the Patriots organization. But what's the excuse for Trey Lance? What's the excuse for Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or any of those guys? Trevor Lawrence finally looked pretty decent this year after a bunch of inconsistency.
When that draft class cards came out, it was like the second coming of Jesus.
Yeah.
That was around the first COVID boom too. So those dudes were pumped to the moon.
We could even look at the 2020 quarterbacks. Like Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. He's been in the Super Bowl, which is great. But Herbert, for a guy that's had $1 million sale of a card, what has he done? Tua, not to his fault, but very injury prone, and he looks lost at a lot of times. Jordan Love sat for 3 years, and now he looks pretty good. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl champ. So it's so unpredictable when you're prospecting quarterbacks, and it just kind of makes me think, why don't we just buy the GOATs? Why don't we just buy the guys that are proven and just be done with it? But that's not what this hobby wants to do. They want to buy the Jarrett Stidham for $300 and hope to flip it for $200 when they lose. So
Right.
yeah.
Someone's gonna get burned real bad on these.
And the guy that sold it for $13 back in May was probably thankful, even after eBay fees. Was like, thank God this card is gone. And the guy that sold it for $300, maybe he's the guy that bought it for 13. I have no idea. But like, holy crap, thank God this card is. I can't believe I sold it for 300. They probably had it jacked up for 1,000 and took the first offer they got.
Right.
So that is that. Any other comments or remarks about quarterbacks, Drake May, the playoffs before we transition to our last point?
Yeah. Only reason I've said before on the show that I want to buy Drake May so bad, but I have to wait. Just
Yeah.
he's so up right now, it wouldn't make sense. Because I'm not looking. I'm going to collect. So why buy that as peak?
I mean, people are selling base cards of Drake May for $5 to $10. Now, you factor in shipping and you can look at the card and what you just wanted to have it. Like, I mean, sure, I guess it makes sense. But you're right. All these cards that were $50, $100, $200, $300 at the most are now $500, $800, $1,200, and obviously more for a lot. Your SPs and your case hits. It's unbelievable. And we saw the same thing with CJ Stroud. We saw the same thing with Jaden Daniels. And this year it's Drake May. And next year it'll be probably Fernando Mendoza or whoever. So it sucks that he's the local guy. Because someone like you who just wants a nice Drake May card for the collection can't buy one without spending an arm and a leg. However, it's also a good thing that he's the local guy because that means he's playing well and winning games.
Right.
And those two things can't happen without the other. So it's kind of the double-bladed sword, I guess you could say. But our final topic here that I want to talk about is something that a lot of people ask me about, and it's something that I think we should talk about in terms of the hobby because it is a relative point in the hobby, or a relative practice, I should say, and that is consignment. Now, for those that may not know what consignment is, it's very simple. You'll see it a lot with like pawn shops, card shops, or antique stores, sneaker shops, probably any niche, kind of business, whether it's like, Funkos or video games or comic books, you can bring anything in, put it up for consignment. So, you kind of sign a waiver, whatever, you set a price, let's say $100, and the shop owner or that business owner will put it in their case or on display or in a consignment case for that $100. That's your asking price. And they take a commission, kind of like eBay. You list something on eBay takes a fee. Now, consignment percentages can go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20%. And those shops or businesses, if they sell it, will get that cut and you get the rest. So let me ask you this, Ricky. Do you think consignment is a good idea? Yes or no? Do you think it's possibly a better alternative to eBay or whatnot if you're able to get consignment fees that are less than those eBay or whatnot fees?
Yeah, I mean, I think consignment is mutually beneficial because for the person selling the card, what I'm trying to say, it gives you, inventory at a show. It makes it look like your tables are fresh. It can give you new cards to put out every week.
Mm-hmm.
Expand your name by selling more cards and stuff like that. And for the person whose card, they're trying to sell, it gives you more eyes on your card. It gives you a better possibility of finding a buyer. More people looking at your card, and like you said, less fees too. If it is less fees, but yeah, I think consignment is mutually beneficial. It gives, like I said, vendors, stores something to fill their shelves, and they don't have to put the money into it; they just have to sell it.
I absolutely agree with you on those points. Mutually beneficial, no upfront cost. However, this could be a personal take. I could be in the minority. I have no idea, but I personally hate consignment. Hate it. And this is why, although I agree with you, is let's say let's just use that $100 example. I'm not, if I sell my own $100 card, I make the full $100. But if I sell someone else's $100 card, I'm only getting 10, 15, $20 out of it, whatever the consignment fee that I'm making is on it. So that customer is still spending their hard-earned money, but not on my product, not on my cards, not on my inventory. So again, there's two ways to look at it. More eyes, get your name out there, move inventory, move product, no upfront cost. I get all that stuff. And I agree with all that stuff. I just don't think it makes sense for me in my business model, but I think I'm in the minority on that because a lot of shops, they do consignment. A lot of businesses take on consignment. They'll even rent out a case to people. Hey, $100 a month or whatever, $200 a month, you get a whole case and whatever you sell, whatever. So there's those options as well. So it definitely is beneficial. And I think something that people should maybe look into if they are able to get those fees under eBay fees or whatnot fees, which I think are both around 15% at this point. I know it was like 13 and a half, 14, 15 now, maybe. I have no idea. Would you ever consider consignment for some of your stuff? Would you go to your local card shop or antique store or pawn shop and throw some stuff up on consignment? Would you rather just trust the process and throw it on eBay?
I have considered, what's that? ComC. Check out my collection.
Yes.
I have considered that for the smaller stuff that I just want to get rid of, but I haven't done it yet. I do kind of just throw things on eBay and it sells. So yeah, I've traditionally gone that route. I haven't really done looked up consignment yet, but yeah.
Something to think about. There's so many avenues to not only buy, but there's so many avenues to sell stuff these days, whether it's shows, shops, eBay, whatnot, consignment, whatever it may be. There's tons of avenues for you to sell things, which is a great thing for the hobby to keep the money going, inventory flowing, and all that stuff. But Ricky, as we conclude this episode of course, we need our final takes.
Still back James Wood.
What was he ranked number 30th? Top 100 player right now?
51, I believe.
Oh, not even close. I hate those lists. Those lists every year suck. Because they're always awful.
I know. But let's see. I just stop pretending to like things. Just admit you're a flipper.
Simple.
I think I people. It's they know it's wrong, so they don't want to admit it. But you obviously are a flipper.
But the money's good though, Ricky. The money's good.
Just embrace it. Stop pretending like you like these things.
Yeah. I agree. Whether it was Pokemon or One Piece, I agree. Sports cards for that matter. If you're a flipper, it's okay. It's okay. We're all trying to hustle. We're all trying to make a few extra bucks. I think people just don't like the tag of flipper. It's like a curse word for them. It's like, ugh, they cringe when they hear. I'm not a flipper. I'm an entrepreneur. Anyways,
right.
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of my final point that I made about the consignment thing and how there's so many avenues to sell. Now, if people want to be lazy, be ready to accept a lazy offer or a low ball offer, a cheap offer. If you have $100 worth of things, I don't want to put the work in. I don't want to sell it. I just want to sell it all in one clump. Then expect a low offer because you're not willing to put in the work. And if you're willing to put in the work, you can maximize that $100 and make maybe even more. Who knows? So there's so many avenues to sell things. There shouldn't be any excuses for people to be able to not sell things in this hobby with all the different platforms, all the different shows that we just went over earlier today, all the different websites and all that. There's so many different places to sell things. So there's no excuse for you not to. But if you're lazy because you don't want to take the pictures or ship, well, that just helps me as a buyer to be able to understand that you don't really care about the stuff. You don't want to put the work. So I'm going to make you an offer reflective of that. But that will wrap it up for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Hobby Talk. We absolutely appreciate your company. Hopefully, this episode was very indulging and delightful for you guys. Please make sure you smash the thumbs up button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, check out the channel membership program. Ricky and I will see you not next week, but the week after for another brand new episode of Hobby Talk. But until then, guys, we'll see you later.
Right before Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, you're right. So we're going to have a Super Bowl preview episode between whoever and whoever. We'll see you guys then, and we'll talk all about it. Bye.